Welcome to the 2024 Call the Wild Deer Tour. As we've officially entered the rut in much of the United States, I wanted to do something special this season. So in this limited series, we'll be hunting every deer species in the game with the goal of taking down a gold buck for each, plus whatever else cool we can find. By my count, there are 19 total deer species, but I've added a couple extra to the list to include more maps, and you'll see what I mean when we get to those. Along the way, any potential diamond or rare deer must be taken with the bow, as we're bringing this series to life during real-life archery season. There's much more explanation to come, but for now, let's jump into it, and of course, we're starting out on Layton Lakes, the original home of the white-tailed deer. So with the entire inspiration for this series being white-tailed deer in real life, we simply have to get a whitetail as our first kill, and one other thing I'd like to do is use a wide array of weapons during the series. So we've got some originals today. Got the 270 Warden, which is probably going to be our whitetail gun pretty much anytime unless we find a potential diamond or rare. We have the 7mm break action, the 223, and then we do have the 22 just in case we find anything that we need to shoot in the distance. But we know this isn't going to be a gold, so we'll still need a better whitetail buck, but it has officially begun with a 176 scoring silver double lung shot from the 270. Our 2024 Call the Wild Deer Tour is underway. Now, something else I wanted to just mention quickly, the reason we're not using the bow for everything is it would slow down the hunt so much. If every single silver, whitetail, blacktail, elk, whatever that we're going after, we had to take with the bow, we'd end up killing like 6 animals per video. So, leaving the potential diamonds and rares for that, the rest of everything we can use our normal loadout. Now we're getting a little somewhere. Finally a good whitetail buck, 207 to 248. And it's actually been a little tougher to find one than I would have expected. So if we just go ahead with his head up, made a slightly better shot on that one, got the heart shot. I think that'll be a good way to take down our first gold buck of the series. And as we kind of wait for the drink times of other species, that's at least the hope, where we can potentially find other cool stuff along the way. It's 10:30 now. Moose will start drinking in about 2 in-game hours. That one shouldn't be too bad. Roosevelt elk and blacktail may take some time, and as we search for those, who knows what we might stumble into. But as for this guy, finally got one on the board, a 208 scoring whitetail buck. Not the biggest gold we've ever taken, but we will definitely take that with the heart and double lung shot to kind of officially now get us going. Now this could help tremendously. Got a max red estimate blacktail track. Looks like probably a herd. And the thing about all these situations for this entire series, might have just found them by the way, when we get heavy tracks, when we get warning calls and stuff in the distance, we really got to be careful, because if that produces a potential diamond, we got to try to take it with the bow, and that's not an easy task once they're spooked. Now I'm thinking our buck's maybe not with that, so we might just go ahead and take her. Maybe for fun we'll use the 223. I'll see what kind of shot we can land on that. She's kind of moving around, so landing a neck shot might be tough, especially when she really isn't sitting still. That'll work though. Oh, maybe he was in there. I was convinced he wasn't. That might not be good. Now, when we spotted her, the track from the doe didn't light up. So that may have even been another buck, but that might not have been a good decision actually. Must have been that one there. So minus any chance that it's rare, and we'll probably try to find the serve edge just in case. At the very least, not the buck that we're after. So kinda lucked out. Got her upper neck about as good as we could have asked for. And frankly, I was kind of impressed that was an insta drop. Back in the day, we used to use the 223 on blacktail a lot. And those neck shots, typically they'd run a couple of meters before they drop. That's gonna be our buck. Just a level 4. So all the super careful just crouching and walking along, maybe not as necessary regarding the whole bow thing, but still nice we can take him standing as opposed to on the trot. So long as we didn't hit the skull, to be 100% honest, I maybe didn't consider that we should be really careful to not. That'll be gold buck number 2, and I still think we should be fine. There we are, 147.78. Yeah, we had plenty of room. Actually hit middle neck, not even upper neck. Tracked him 1.5 kilometers though, and he was 81 to 95 kilo, he weighs 81.85. Nonetheless, that leaves us with moose and Roosevelt elk. Still got a little time here, that's at 11:26 I think. So we might as well, especially since we're in Norden anyway, we might as well run around, look for elk. You know where we could go? I think we're going to do that. Let's go up the coast. A lot of elk rest zones along there, and since we've got some time until moose drink, we might as well try to make the most of it. I'm intending on trying to do 2 maps, probably per video. There's a hopefully way this can all work out so that it's around 24 total species, and again, we'll get into the kind of way that we're breaking that down instead of 19 deer species, and we should be able to do it on 11 maps. So not much luck on the elk front, but we may have a chance at a gold moose here. 145 to 199 really isn't the greatest estimate, but if we just get a shot here with the 7 mil, and we definitely want a hard shot, because we don't need to be tracking him, especially if he's going to fall short. That's going to work. He is going to dive in the water, so we're going to end up sitting here waiting on him. Might be able to cut off some of it if we get out there to that little island, but I really don't know if I've ever seen that combo. There's another... Wait, is that the same, like, uneven rack? I think it is. Well, in that case, we did bring the 22, so maybe we'll just get his attention. And while we're waiting anyway, maybe we can just double our odds. Basically the same estimate regardless. 2 for 2 on hard shots isn't bad, and I think that one we can actually just run around and go and claim. This might be trouble. Now, I think he's going to go around that. We should be okay. So finally, our first one is going to fall shy. 186 is shy of gold by about 8. I don't love our odds then, because I do think that's the same combination. I think if both sides are this, it might make gold, but maybe that's the smaller variation. Might be a little different, but more or less, same exact frame, and frankly, I'm guessing same rough score. Yeah, 185 for this guy, actually a little bit smaller, directly in the heart that time, right in the top of it. So no such luck on our first 2. Maybe next time we'll just try to find a 4. I thought that was a cow. A 0 to 53 estimate, level 1 male moose. We are just simply going to have to take that out. There are a couple more 3s over here. Pretty sure silvers again anyway. And maybe we're going to do a little bit better if we actually have a round in the chamber. Kind of tough to get a broadside hard shot, especially with the 7 mil, but I'm thinking that will hit a lung. And he is starting to go down, so that'll work. Go figure. Maybe the most interesting kill thus far of the hunt is going to be a possible Hall of Shamer. I can only think of one other time I've seen 0 as the minimum estimate for moose, and it was a minimum weight. So we'll see what this ends up being. That is definitely the smaller rack though. 402. So 400 flat is the minimum weight for a male moose. 36 score is absurdly tiny. Just punched through the shoulder blade enough to get the lung, and yeah, I think we'll add that to the Hall of Shame. Maybe I should have shot that with the bow. Nah, I think we should stick with the whole premise, because if we start trying to shoot Hall of Shame animals with the bow, again, it's going to slow stuff down so much. Probably just better off taking them down, and, you know, we added something to the trophy lodge now. Finally, I think we may have what we're after. Now that's a level 3, but that rack at least has a chance. I kind of think it's similar, maybe the same basic frame of the one that we shot earlier, but it actually matches. So whatever this is, take 4 I guess on moose if you count the level 1. Will this guy be the one? Shot ends up just to the left. I think he kind of moved right when we shot, but gonna be vitals. Just a matter of, is he big enough? Now, we need the gold medal, so I really don't want to screw it up, but if we could maybe help that along a little bit. That was way back, but just mostly trying to avoid the skull. Let's see if that guy ends up being gold. He's 179 minimum. Way better estimate than the other ones. So, moment of truth for our moose. That is a gold. 194.81, just barely. But he does make it. We did shoot too far left of the heart the first time. That shot to the pelvis didn't do a whole lot for us. But we can finally cross off, I'm going to call it Shiras Moose or maybe Northwestern Moose, and you maybe see where I'm going with this as far as the 24 deer species in the Hunter Call of the Wild. That one's done. We only need Roosevelt elk from Leighton Lakes. I think we found what we need. That's a pretty big looking elk. Level 4 up to 335. Is that real, like, wide set frame? It's crazy to me that only goes up to 335. Also got a black bear drinking over there. But while that guy's broadside, right about 300 out, I think we can go ahead and try to get that shot. Don't love that he went to drink right when we pulled the trigger, but I think that's still gonna punch through. At that range, it probably would take a second to drop, and he is going down. That's so incredibly wide set. That's a nice looking elk, and I think a pretty good way. By the way, level 1 elk now after our moose, but to wrap up our latent section of the deer tour. And a pretty cool looking elk to accomplish that with. He's gonna be 297. Elk scoring obviously is really weird. Got him in the right lung though. And that is our gold Roosevelt elk and the 4th deer species here on Latent Lakes crossed off the list. So I think we're actually gonna head to Teawaroa now and go after Sika deer. Because of the way we're gonna structure this, Hirschfelden will be where we get our fallow deer and red deer, so we're not going to worry about those species. We only need Sika from Teawaroa, and that is now our goal. Well, no doubt, that guy's gonna be big enough to make gold. I was really hoping to maybe find some kind of decent Sika deer. Level 5, rare, anything like that, but unfortunately, no such luck. So we'll try to get this guy with the 270. Kinda surprised he tanked that in all honesty, but no use for the bow, at least to this point. However, we have a ton of species yet to go, and talking about the Hirschfelden hunt, that'll probably be the next video. Starting out on Hirschfelden, try to get the fallow deer, red deer, and of course the roe deer, and then we'll kind of see where we go from there. But those species on this map will be saved for Hirschfelden, and our 151 scoring gold is going to be the last kill of the hunt. So 5 species down, 19 more to go, including some kind of subspecies that to a degree were sort of making up, but I think it's going to make it a lot more fun, and I'm really looking forward to the next iterations of this, hunting all those different maps, all those different species, seeing what it brings us, and I guess we'll find out in that next video. So on that note, that's going to do it for this one. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.